Hi, my name is Natalie, and I will be talking about the MMR vaccine, or the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. So the purpose is to vaccinate and prevent measles, which is a viral respiratory infection, and it's really deadly to children. Mumps, which is a contagious viral disease, and that affects the salivary glands. And then rubella, or German measles, or it's also called the 3-day measles, which is a mild viral infection. So according to the World Health Organization, there are 4 different types of vaccines. There's attenuated, which is live, and that's components derived from the disease-causing organism, and that's the type of vaccine that the MMR is. And then there's inactive, so that's proteins or other smaller parts taken from the virus. There is toxoid, which is a toxin or chemical made by the virus or the bacteria. And then there's biosynthetic, which is man-made, sustainable, similar to the virus, substance similar to the virus or the bacteria. So a lot of people believe that the MMR vaccine can cause autism in children. This is because a scientist back in 1998 in England had a test group of 12 kids who had Crohn's or gastrointestinal problems, and they also had autism, and this all happened right after they got their vaccines. But according to Helen Bedford, in 1998, the colleagues made the hypothesis that the MMR vaccine is directly linked to only 12 of the measles patients that they had. And so they said that there was measles in the GI tract, which caused autism. And then, so according to DiStefano, autism is a genetic disorder that can start to show signs as early as birth, but they don't have to be diagnosed until later in life. The child can start developing normally throughout childhood and not start showing signs of autism until later in life. Doctors believe that it is a mutation in measles that could be from the MMR vaccine, but it also could be a wild variant. But the doctors were unable to find the same sequence in other kids but those 12 kids that they were looking at. And so some of the other doctors believe that it could be acquired from the outside world. The study in which the scientists got their information from has been recently retracted because they were unable to actually link the MMR vaccine to autism, because there was only 12 kids who got it. So both the MMR vaccine and the early onset signs and symptoms of autism happen in the early developmental years. So kids can get the MMR vaccine, and then a few days, weeks later, they can start showing signs of autism, but that's just how autism is. It just grows throughout the child. So 10 out of the 12 researchers later came out saying that there wasn't a definite link or causation between autism and MMR vaccine. So the thing that everybody's basing their argument on isn't even relevant anymore, because over half of the scientists have now said that it is not there's no link. So the main researcher was hired by families who were trying to sue pharmaceutical companies that made vaccines. So money was a definite factor in this man's decision to pursue the MMR vaccine. And the next big argument is that the MMR vaccine contains toxins, especially mercury, that can hurt children. And yes, there is some mercury, but it's not enough to actually cause harm. Only mild illnesses have been clinically proven with the MMR vaccine. This happens when part of the measles can replicate, and only 5 to 15% of patients develop roughly signs of a cold 7 to 12 days after their initial dose, and there's 2 doses. Also, only 5% of patients that received the vaccine got a rash from it. So a small group of a really large portion of society actually got sick. So a quote from my maternal and newborn nursing textbooks highlights the importance of the MMR vaccine, especially rubella, on the fetuses. So fetuses exposed to rubella during the first trimester are at risk for birth defects that include deafness, blindness, heart defects, and mental retardation. So if a vaccinated mom contracts rubella while she's pregnant with their child, they will be 10 times more likely to have worse problems than just autism, and they're more likely to have these birth defects than to have autism. So the components of the MMR vaccine are antigens, so those are the components derived from the disease-causing organism, and then preservatives, which are added to multi-dose vials to prevent bacterial or fungal growth. And this started happening after the 20th century when kids started getting severe bacterial infections from vaccines that were tainted with S. aureus. So now they put preservatives, like we put in food and every other thing, to keep kids safe. So the preservatives that are actually in MMR vaccines are similar to the ones in like makeup and everyday uses. And then another preservative is the thimerosal, which is the most controversial preservation in vaccines, which does contain mercury, but the level of mercury in the vaccination is not harmful because it's such a low concentration. And then we have stabilizers, which are added to the virus or bacteria to inactivate them. So this helps to preserve the vaccine and to keep the potency over time. So sugars like lactose and sucrose are added, amino acids like glycine, and then proteins like gelatin or human serum albumin. And then there are adjuvants, which helps to stimulate antibodies against the antigen, so you build memory to the vaccine, which makes it more effective, and this enhances the immune response. And this is aluminum salts. So aluminum is so abundant around us that infants are already exposed, so it won't hurt the body. And finally, the benefits of the MMR vaccine outweighs the risks of life-threatening diseases. MMR is more serious than autism. I mean, you can die from measles, mumps, and rubella, but you can't die from autism. Yes, the life expectancy isn't too well, and the quality of life isn't the best, but it's definitely less severe than the measles